Welcome back to the Hoystory On Air broadcast, Season 1, Episode 4. I'm going to try and get this right one of these days. I keep on muting my mic in order to play audio here without polluting it. Tried it last week, tried it again earlier today, and I have a serious problem with muting my mic and forgetting to turn the thing on. And then just starting to rant for 10 or 15 minutes. I need to have somebody, hey, turn your mic on. Again, like I said, I tried this last week. Didn't go well. Thought, okay, I'll just cut and paste, the stuff I've got, and then record some of it in Adobe Premiere Pro. And it's a little bit too much more work than I was willing to do at the time, and so giving it yet another shot. Let's get going on this. I want to talk about the big tent that Democrats are trying to do. This is an article from The Atlantic last week. How big tent are the Democrats willing to go? Many in the party say it needs a wider range of candidates to run. Does that include people with Nazi tattoos? Spoiler, the answer is apparently yes. Apparently, yes. I'd almost argue that the Republicans got Trump for a similar reason that the Democrats are getting this guy, is that the Republicans hate the other guy and the other party so much. It's like, okay, this is the guy who will really mess with their brains. And so that's who they go with. Anyway, how big tent are Democrats willing to go? Nazi tattoos. This guy is just a mess. I want to scroll down here, this article. For now, at least, the Democratic Party is not calling on Plattner to step down. Ken Martin, the head of the DNC, said that Plattner's online comments were hurtful but not disqualifying. I guess that continues a recent trend. I mean, you've got Jay Jones there in Virginia who said some things that were absolutely outrageous, but Democrats aren't willing to let him go either. Senator Ruben Gallego of Arizona, who was neutral in the race, said, everyone has a right to grow and grow out of their stupidity and into a seat in the United States Senate. No, you don't have a right to a seat in the United States Senate. There's only 100 of them. And surely people in Maine, you can find someone better. I suspect that Susan Collins will wipe the floor with this guy, if this is the guy the Democrats put up in Maine. I'm not a big fan of Susan Collins. She's too moderate for my blood on a lot of issues. But Maine seems okay with her, and I don't see this guy ousting her. But okay, if you want to, virtue signal your purity to the progressive cause by voting for a loser, go for it. Republicans do it too. Senator Martin Heinrich of New Mexico said Graham has made a lot of mistakes in his life. He's had a very long journey to the place where he is today, but he's owned those mistakes, owned up to them, and he's evolved into a seat in the United States Senate. No. This one I love. Ro Khanna, he is a congressman from California. We can do better than him, but he's whatever. Khanna called the tattoo horrendous, but said, do we want our political governing class to be like the classmates I had at Yale Law School? Some of them who dreamed of being president of the United States from the age of 12. He continued, or do we want normal people also having a chance at these offices? I'm all for normal people, but guess what? Plattner's not normal. This is from Twitter or X. Working class Graham Plattner attended an elite $75,000 a year prep school known for famous government alumni. Who among us has not attended a $75,000 a year elite prep school? Let him throw the first stone. Seriously? I mean, I guess Kahana didn't realize this when he said this, but Plattner's not a normie. He's cosplaying as a normie. This is the adult version of LARPing, the political version of LARPing, live action role playing, for those of you who aren't as hip as I am. And then you got Democrat Bernie Sanders. He went through a dark period. He's not the only one in America who's gone through a dark period. I am confident that he's going to run a great campaign and that he's going to win. Maybe Bernie's right, but this is your Democratic Party today. Over the weekend, Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader for the Democrats, basically endorsed Plattner. Said, hey, he's great. Okay, you guys keep running to the left, keep running to the extremes, keep excusing a bunch of stuff you shouldn't be excusing. Poll release shows him leading Janet Mills, current governor, who's old. She's really old. She's in her 70s or something, maybe 80s. We'll get to the gerontocracy thing a little bit later. That is ruled by old people. He's up 34 points. Here's another article on that new poll. Again, he's up 34 points. 58 to 24 among likely primary voters, 14 undecided. Even if all the undecideds go for the governor, it's still his to lose. And this poll was done after, from October 16th to October 21. This says amid. This is the same time this Nazi tattoo stuff was coming out. Plattner's there. Yes, it was a Nazi. Oh, I didn't. He's playing these games. He knew exactly what it was. In little related news, the campaign manager that he hired Friday is gone now. He quit Sunday or Monday. I'm not sure exactly which one it was, but it's like, I don't know what's going on. But the whole idea that Democrats have higher standards for their candidates, get off your high horse. It's a lie. It's a lie. Now, I want to show you a bit of that video that I referenced. I apologize ahead of time for the poor quality, and I'm going to leave my finger on the mute button so that I remember to push it again and come back and start talking this time so you can hear me. I talk all the time. But here we go.
They're coming. Now we'll see how these Russians deal with a crack SS division.
Hans?
Have courage, my friend.
Yeah. Hans, I've just noticed something.
These communists are all cowards.
Have you looked at our caps recently?
Our caps?
The badges on our caps. Have you looked at them?
What? No. A bit?
They've got skulls on them. Have you noticed that our caps have actually got little pictures of skulls on them?
I don't,
Hans, are we the baddies?
So, are we? Yeah, you're the baddies. And the thing is, Graham Plattner knew that too. He knew that when he got this tattoo. The previous campaign manager said that I'm not sure it's a colleague or campaign manager says, but he's a history buff. I mean, how can you not know this? Maybe a little of this should be kind of, required. Moving on briefly to my home state of California. This is the Emerson College polling came out late last week. This is what Katie Porter wants. Katie Porter is a former House member of the House of Representatives. She ran for Dianne Feinstein's vacated Senate seat back last year, and she screamed bloody murder because Adam Schiff, the odious guy who actually won the seat, managed to play this game where he picked his opponent for the final, which was Steve Garvey, former Dodgers and Padres first baseman. He kind of propped up Garvey enough so that California has a jungle primary. Everyone runs against everyone else in the primary. It's not political party primaries. Republicans don't run against Republicans. Democrats don't run against Democrats. Everyone runs against everyone else. And the top 2 vote getters, no matter what their party, go to the general election, and whoever wins that takes the seat. When California adopted that, the belief was that this would create more moderate elected officials. It has not done that. You get cases where, like with Schiff got Garvey into second place and then just cruised to the win because in California, you pick a Democrat or you pick a Republican, they're going to pick the Democrat. So what you see here is what Katie Porter is hoping will happen. Katie Porter is a horrible person. She treats her staff like garbage. She's egotistical. She's entitled. She walked out of an interview because the reporter had the audacity to ask follow-up questions. Oh my gosh, a reporter asking follow-up questions. I got to admit, I was a little shocked too. But it's what happens when, especially with the Washington, D.C. press corps, you're coddled by them for so many years. But this is what she wants. She wants it to be a final between her and a Republican, and then she just cruises. Might happen. Just about any one of these other Democrats, they're all pretty darn bad. But they treat their staff better. I mean, there's famous stories of various politicians, especially in Washington, D.C., who absolutely treat their staff like garbage. And, it's like, do you know who I am syndrome. Those people are horrible. You shouldn't put them in elected office, but we probably will. Switching back briefly to the Virginia Attorney General race. Jones falls even with Mayares in Virginia Attorney General race amid scandal. This is a good thing. I hope Mayares wins. Jay Jones should not be anywhere near elected office, especially one that kind of controls who can get prosecuted for various things. The thing here I want to focus on is this question that they were asked. When asked how voters think Jones should respond following the leaked text, 51% said he should drop out of the race. That's a bare majority. That's probably every Republican, quite a few of the independents. Another 41% said they supported him continuing his bid, and 8% didn't know or had skipped the question. This is a scary number. 41% think it's okay if our guy wishes death upon small children or to kill his political opponents because, pain is what makes them change their minds. He's sick. He's 36. He's not a child. We had the controversy last week with a bunch of young Republicans types. It didn't take long for every Republican you asked, yeah, I condemn all of them. They're horrible. They should get out. We should, not have people like that in our party. Great. That's the right answer. This is the wrong answer. Okay? Wrong. This says something about the Democratic Party right now, and it's not anything good. And there's lots of excuses for bad behavior because the other party is worse. I think that's part of why probably the Republican Party got Trump, because there were a lot of Republicans that, well, they call us Nazis anyways. Let's, not that Trump's a Nazi, but, they treat us like crap anyways. This is the guy that most causes them to have a conniption fit, so we'll pick this guy. He got elected president because, again, Hillary was worse. Oh, Hillary was atrocious. Biden promised a return to normalcy, which he did not deliver. He got in there and went full the other way, and just as odious or even worse, frankly, and which is why you got Trump again. Let's move on to Zoran Mamdani, the front runner for mayor of New York City. Held a press conference Friday, and we're just going to play this for you.
Moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt, who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab. I want to use this.
Yeah. Sorry, not really buying it. No. As people have pointed out, there's nearly 3,000 other people who stopped taking the subway after 9/11, and it wasn't because they were afraid of being ostracized for wearing a hijab. It was because they were dead. It's the Norm Macdonald joke, and here's again the Norm Macdonald joke for those of you who don't remember it. What terrifies me is if ISIS were to detonate a nuclear device and kill 50 million Americans, imagine the backlash against peaceful Muslims. There was some isolated violence in this country after 9/11. I think there was, and it wasn't directed strictly at Muslims, because people who, want to attack random people who they decide they hate tend to get Sikhs too. And Sikhs aren't Muslims. And it's just, this is odious. The big issue nowadays in New York City is Islamophobia and violence against Muslims. No, it's not. It's violence against Jews. And Mamdani's all for Hamas. He had his photo taken with a co-conspirator for the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. All glad handing and smiles. No. So not only is Mamdani a bigot, a Jew hater, and generally a piece of garbage, he's also a liar. Because here's Mamdani's only aunt, Masuma Mamdani. Does it look like she's wearing a hijab? This is a picture from her LinkedIn profile. Look where she is right now. Tanzania. Going down further. Where was she in the weeks after 9/11? Why, she was the senior program development officer for AMREF in Tanzania. She was not in New York City to take the subway. She doesn't wear a hijab. She doesn't take the subway in New York City because she lives in Tanzania. So Mamdani was forced to clarify this on Monday. The aunt who Zoran Mamdani said was too afraid to wear her hijab on the Sundays after 9/11 is actually a deceased distant cousin. Kind of convenient. She's deceased, and it's distant cousin, but we don't ever get her name. This is just, he made it up. Getting on to our gerontocracy. Eleanor Holmes Norton, says delegate here. She is the delegate to the House of Representatives from Washington, D.C. Police report says Norton has early stages of dementia. Her office pushed back, saying the medical diagnosis included in the police report was based on an assumption the reporting officer was unqualified to make. Apparently now we need to see a shrink if someone appears to have dementia. Multiple people claiming to be HVAC workers arrived at Norton's home just after 3:30 p.m. Thursday. They charged $4,362 for duct and fireplace cleaning, and they didn't do it. It's elder abuse, but it's elder abuse probably to still have her as delegate. The good news is she can't vote. Good. Yay. But we've got a gerontocracy problem. Speaking of that, I'm gonna play another one. I'm gonna try and remember to unmute myself when I come back. But here is a brief bit of a Babylon Bee video, which you should watch because it's funny. The whole thing. And speaking of our gerontocracy.
Grandpa. Grandpa! Grandpa!
Huh?
I think it's time that we had, kind of a difficult conversation with you.
You know how much we love you, right?
Right. And I love you too.
And we only want what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming more and more clear to us that we can't take care of you the way that you need to be taken care of.
Why are you talking like that? I'm fine.
Oh, of course you are. But let's be honest here. You're getting older, and things happen.
You get confused, you forget where you are.
You fall down.
You need to go someplace where they can take care of you.
Where people your age go.
I think it's time for you to run for U.S. Senate.
No! How can you do this to me? I still have a lot of good years left.
Of course you do, Grandpa. But just think, you'll be with people your own age.
You'll have staff. They can take really good care of you. You know, they can whisper in your ear how to vote, you know? Just say aye.
Hi. and you don't even have to serve out the full 6-year term. I mean, in 4 years, you'll be 96. You could run for president.
Yeah. You can run for president. That'll do it for you. It's good. There'll be a link in the show notes down below. We got too many old people in the Senate. Sorry. Moving on. So this apparently got us a quick 10% emergency tariff on Canadian goods and got us and cut off talks with Canada. The government in Ontario, $75 million on a pro-trade anti-tariff ad starring Ronald Reagan, the Gipper. Let's take a look at this. It's a minute.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
So there you go. Yeah, not wrong. Reagan was a free trader. Did he impose tariffs from time to time? Yes, he did. But usually that was when somebody, some other country was doing dumping, or, there's some other unfair trade condition happening. Having this is apparently what Trump believes, having a trade deficit is not necessarily bad. I mean, we sell farm goods, which are low, which are low tech. We make a lot of, and we export a lot of, soybeans and other things because we can make it so efficiently with machines and whatnot. We don't have tons of people working in farming in this country. But most of the other stuff that we sell overseas is kind of expensive. Their services, it's, Salesforce and, other things like that, or, rides on rockets. It's like, oh, we've got this huge trade deficit with Vietnam. It's like, well, yeah, what of our expensive stuff is Vietnam going to buy from us? Just not smart. Not sure why that one's there. I was looking at something else. And then, Trump said, oh, this is AI. It's not AI. They did a little cut and pasting with Reagan's statement, but the sentiment of what they put out there was completely accurate. This is somebody on the right. Reagan's message was so clear they had to deliberately edit out the last 55 seconds where he emphasized the importance of the president retaining the ability to impose tariffs. Not the case. Phil Magnus, I believe he's over at the American, where is he? Independent Institute. He's over for the Independent Institute. Good place. Reagan called to preserve the president's ability to reduce trade barriers by negotiation and say his opposition to a protectionist bill in Congress that would have increased them. A year later, he vetoed a similar protectionist bill. Again, it's just not true. Trump can lie about it all he wants, but that's what it is. It's a lie. They did cut and paste some of what Trump said for obviously for dramatic reasons and for narrative reasons, but it's a pretty darn accurate portrayal of his views. Moving on. So the east wing of the White House has been demolished. There is some debate over how much information Trump gave out and whether they were just going to do a facade or what was going to occur there. The East Wing was not part of the original White House. It has a history. I think they originally built it and expanded it in order to cover up a bunker under there during World War II. Probably more stuff for any bomb that might have been dropped by the Germans, if that kind of ever occurred, stop it from getting through. But PolitiFact on July 31st, and again, I've written a book on fact checking. PolitiFact is horrible. It's horrible. Like a blind squirrel, every once in a while they find a nut and do something accurately, but for the most part, they're a partisan political operation. They are not down the middle. They are not unbiased. They are not fully honest. And Brian White, Zebra Fact Check, PolitiFactBias.com, you ought to check him out. He does great work on this stuff. And he's as frustrated with them as I am. But I've written a book on fact checking, hopefully one day it'll get published. But this is what you're looking at. So on July 31st, President Trump said construction of his new ballroom on the White House grounds won't interfere with the current building. It's not clear whether that was the plan then, and it's certainly not the plan now. We rate his statement full flop. And as White points out, why did PolitiFact assume the current building meant the entire White House complex and not just the main building? When he said, which is the residence in the West, the residence is the main building. That's the most historic part. Particularly when a press release the same day ought to have clarified that point. So here's the press release. blah, 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 blah. In recent weeks, Trump has held several meetings with members of the White House staff with design plannings. And basically, there's no promise here that it won't, current building. It's the White House is one of the most beautiful and historic buildings in the world, yet the White House is currently unable to host major functions honoring world leaders and other countries without having to install a large and unsightly tent approximately 100 yards away from the main building entrance. The White House State Ballroom will be a much-needed and exquisite addition of approximately 90,000 square feet of ornately designed and carefully crafted space with a seated capacity of 650 people, a significant increase from the 200-person seated capacity in the East Room. Again, this is, and you even look at the pictures, it's pretty clear from all of this that East Wing, as it is, isn't going to be there anymore. So, and this is something that the fact checkers do all the time. They purposely kind of curate what they're going to cover, what they're going to look at, and they especially do this if it's a way to rank a Republican as liar or false or full flop or whatnot. You don't expect anything better from them. When it comes to reading fact checkers, do not trust a word they say. Or if you want to, trust but verify. But seriously, look it up. The Trump ballroom is also something that's been that Democrats are kind of taking out of context. So this is Alabama.com. This is just where I found it. Trump spokeswoman's ballroom remark leaves scumdag Democrat in disbelief. Can't make this S up. Chuck Schumer isn't the only one doing this. Democrats are doing a lot of this. And be careful. The U.S. Senate's top Democrat on Thursday tore into the White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt after apparently thinking she said the $300 million ballroom under construction is President Donald Trump's main priority. Honestly, you can't make this S up. Okay? But here's the thing. And Schumer knew, I'm almost positive Schumer knew better. If he didn't, he should have known better. But I'm pretty sure he knew better. The question that prompted this whole thing was, question here, in addition to the ballroom and the Rose Garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House? Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly, and so his heart and mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority. This is vis-a-vis any construction on the White House. That's grounds. That's clearly what the question was about. That's clearly what the answer is about. And it's clearly what Chuck Schumer took out of context. Yeah, we shouldn't be surprised. We should not be surprised. I guess Chinese spy honeypot or whatnot, whatever you want to call him, Eric Swalwell, Democratic congressman from here in California, is demanding that any Democrat running for president next time around vow to tear this thing down immediately upon taking office. They won't. He's stupid for asking for it. And it's this perpetual outrage machine. We can do better. We can do better than this garbage. That's about going to wrap it up, everybody. Thank you for watching. Again, I'm trying to do these on a regular basis. This is kind of practice for growing this and expanding it. Thank you for listening in. Appreciate it. Hope you'll see me next time, and thanks for being here.